President Donald Trump and his cabinet continue to share information with Congress about why they launched strikes against Iran.
As lawmakers expect to vote this week on whether to rein those powers in. NBC Connecticut political reporter Mike Savino joins us live in studio. Mike, you spoke with Congressman Jim Himes. What did he have to say?
Well, Himes, because of his leadership role in the Intelligence Committee, he's part of a select group of lawmakers who were briefed before the strikes even happened, and he says he still hasn't heard a concrete reason for this conflict. So this is all while the rest of the delegation continues to also try to get more information.
Our experience with Middle Eastern wars, think Libya, think Iraq, think Afghanistan, is not a good one.
Add Congressman Jim Himes to the members of Connecticut's delegation skeptical about the war in Iran. As a ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee, he's part of the so-called Gang of Eight lawmakers briefed before the strikes on Saturday. But as President Donald Trump continues to make his case,
we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first.
Himes is critical because the reasons keep changing, from Iran's plans for a nuclear weapon to regime change to now concerns Israel was going to strike first, putting the U.S. in the line of fire.
That is suggesting that the most powerful superpower that mankind has ever known doesn't have options, which is just plain wrong.
Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the U.S. and Israel are winning. A submarine sunk an Iranian warship with a torpedo, and Hegseth claims the U.S. will soon control Iran's airspace.
And as President Trump said, more and larger waves are coming. We are just getting started.
Hegseth also says the operation could last anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks, but declined to give a more definitive timeline. The U.S. has no plans to send in ground troops, but some Democrats are worried that could change.
I am more fearful than ever after this briefing that we may be putting boots on the ground.
Congressman Joe Courtney also put out a statement of his own today saying he is even more opposed to this after a briefing today. Connecticut's delegation wants a vote on the Wars Power Act that would force the White House to work with Congress going forward. And coming up at 5, I'll tell you what Himes said when I asked him what he'd want to see the country do now that the war has started. Live from the studio, Mike Savino, NBC Connecticut News.